get rolling here. Mics are live, folks. Don't say any swear words. Okay, we're ready to go. Welcome, everyone. This is City Council work session. It's Monday, February 9th, 2026, 4:30 p.m. here in the Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers in beautiful Burlington City Hall, 400 Washington Street. We have several discussion items tonight. First up will be a report on the Burlington Community School District Superintendent Rob Scott. And guests.
Yes. Evening, everyone. Thank you for a little bit of time. I have Corey Johnson, my curriculum director, with me. He's going to talk a little bit about the projects. I have my board president, Annika McVeigh, with me. And we just really wanted to stop in and we wanted to say thank you to the Economic Development Committee. They awarded us some money a little bit over 2 years ago and helped us with some of our projects. Of course, we did a $45 million project at the high school, but we wanted to kind of share what we use those dollars for and how they went right directly towards the kids. And so I'm going to turn it over to Corey. I'm going to give you a handout as Corey's talking about some of those items.
Okay,
All right, good evening.
welcome.
Thank you. No, and we are very appreciative of the Economic Development Committee's investment in Burlington High School. It's been a huge transformational project for our community. And appreciate the city's help in that process, and had a lot of city inspectors and fire inspectors and all sorts of other folks doing a lot of work for us too. So we appreciate all of their hard work. But the Economic Development Committee gave us a $97,500 lump sum with which to really help furnish and expand primarily our CTE programming, career and technical education programming, to help modernize and update and expand those programs as we renovated and remodeled Burlington High School. And what you have in front of you is a handout that along the right side, it shows you kind of the broad categories within which we spent those funds. So in round numbers, about $31,000 in science equipment, about $21,000 in our computer labs, about $18,000 for our health occupations program, around $13,000 in our general industrial technology shop areas, around $12,000 within family and consumer science areas, and around $2,000 with a new cosmetology program. So we really used it across a lot of different programs in a lot of different areas. In some cases, those were to help us build new programs, the cosmetology program being an example of a brand new program we've recently added at Burlington High School. So in that area, these funds helped purchase salon chairs, sink basins, things like that for those hands-on experiences. In some cases, we use the funds to expand existing programs. Health occupations is a great example of that. So within our health occupations program, that's a program that we had for about 5 years prior to our renovation. We really expanded that program. If you've been at our high school recently, you've seen our health occupations lab space really set up just like you would have a clinic area. So we had to add some new equipment to those things, like some additional patient beds, some additional, I'll say, simulation equipment that goes along with those patient care areas. So really helping us expand those patient care areas and make it so that we could serve more students in those spaces and give them their full course offerings that we offer through our agreements and partnerships with Southeastern Community College. And some other areas, it really was just updating some very old equipment. A good example is the autoclave, which, if you're not familiar, is a piece of equipment used to sterilize equipment in our science labs. It's nearly a $20,000 piece of equipment, and the one we had was a 1974 model that needed to be replaced. So whether it be creating new programs, expanding existing programs, or just helping us replace some very outdated equipment, I believe we were able to put these funds to really good use.
Just want to say thank you so much for investing in our future. It really goes along with our mission statement and our motto statement to have a profound impact on the adult quality of life through education. So thank you very much for all of this. Our students greatly appreciate it, and I would encourage you to come check these parts of our building out at the high school so you can see what you've done in action through our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we take questions or?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Okay.
come on up. No, you don't have to.
Okay, but
Council, do you have any questions for any of the three?
I don't.
Just comment.
I've
you know.
been out to see the building and I think it's great.
Yeah, we're really blessed with how it turned out. Carly Nelson did a fabulous job, also partnering with us along the way. But, you have expectations that you want to see something turn out to be, and when it exceeds that, it's just amazing, and that's what the school ended up being, amazing.
We had our 50th class reunion this year, or this last fall, and part of that weekend was spent going through the high school and seeing the improvements and the changes.
Yeah.
And I was like my first day at BHS, I was lost.
Yeah, we hear a lot about the room numbers too. That's one of the really confusing part for even our own kids getting used to it. But it just set up to last for the next 30 years, and we've already had some other districts reach out to us and talk to us about, Carly Nelson, but then also the project and wanting to visit. So, that's a signature moment to say people are really excited about what we did and how can they replicate it at their own places.
Yeah, I don't, I appreciate your leadership, Annika, your leadership, Corey, yours. I think anytime you invest in our kids, it's a great deal. So, great to see the project through. I know it was a long project to go through some of your remodeling and stuff, but it's beautiful. So, good job.
Well, it's wonderful to have such a great partnership with the city. This event, Chad and I, we work together. Nick actually with city busing, things that we've done. That doesn't happen in every community, right? And so we're really blessed to have that type of partnership between the community and the school district. It makes both people successful.
Good deal.
All right.
Thank you very much.
We're off to our own board meeting then.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Go
Thank you
have
so
fun.
much.
Yeah, have fun at that. All right, next up is, we're going to move up Historic Preservation Commission Annual Report. Stephanie Brakefield, please. Come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. As he said, I'm Stephanie Brakefield. I'm the current chair of Burlington's Historic Preservation Commission, and I'm here to give you your Certified Local Government Annual Report for the year 2025. So in case you're not familiar with Certified Local Governments, or CLGs, it's a program that is a partnership between local, state, and federal governments to help communities preserve irreplaceable historic character. And our certification as a city shows the commitment of Burlington to historic preservation at the local level. So currently, there are 7 members on the commission, myself as chair, David Rode, Judy Stevens, Hal Morton, Paul Walker, Mitchell Troxel, and Jocelyn Williams. In 2025, the HPC met 3 times, and we considered a total of 4 certificates of appropriateness for work on structures in the Heritage Hill Historic District. We also conferred with the owners of those properties on what their options were for the work, typical best practices, and our design recommendations. The commission also consulted to provide review and input on the Cascade Bridge replacement, and we celebrated Preservation Month with a coloring contest. In 2026, our primary goal is to continue working on the designation of a local downtown district as well as Heritage Hill, and design guidelines to go along with that to help put some safeguards in place for what can happen for new construction and remodels that occur in the downtown. Happy to take any questions if any of you have them.
Questions, gang? So let me just ask you about the design standards. So devil's advocate here, right? I like historic buildings. By the same token, part of me wonders sometimes, for instance, like the Riverview Apartments. It's a little different than the previous building, but I also look at that and think 50 years from now, we'll be fighting to save that facade. So, I mean, would that design standards have an eye toward what's future historic as well?
It's common practice is that it's somewhat of a rolling clock, like that 50 years is a constantly moving target for what is actually considered historic. So yes, it would, and typically design standards, when written by, they're typically written by a consultant, and that consultant is usually trying to find a good mix of factoring in compatibility versus historic character, and trying to allow for some flexibility while still trying to preserve the character so that the downtown can continue to feel like the downtown for years to come.
Great answer.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Anybody else?
It's almost like I do this for a living.
Yeah, almost. Almost.
The other elephant in the room would be the Cascade Bridge replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Can you offer me some of the suggestions that you would give to maintain its historical significance while replacing the entire bridge?
So we, basically, during the meeting in which that was discussed, it was the city providing us with sort of a description of all the options that were
Okay,
explored, and sort of walked us to the conclusion that they had reached, and we somewhat agreed with that, which did involve replacement. However, we also talked about, we threw out some ideas for different ways in which the bridge could be saved in some way, whether that was partnering with a local entity such as like the Art Center or the Historical Society to create some sort of exhibit that spoke about it, even potentially taking parts of the bridge once it was dismantled, it could become part of an exhibit somewhere. We talked about maybe the STEM Foundation is looking to do an inspiration lab, a children's museum type thing down in the old Craftsman Press building. So we threw out some ideas because, you know, it's a very difficult situation to determine what can and can't you do that is actually going to be feasible and make sense financially, so.
thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Yep, no
Appreciate your
problem.
work. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Number 2 would be further budget discussion. Mr. Byrd, this is to check, see if we have any questions after last.
Yeah, this is kind of the last open window of time. You'll still have some public hearings and some required time to discuss.
Okay.
But this would be kind of the last open time for just free flow conversation, questions of me or staff, or any feedback or additional research you might need. So following up on last week, I would just simply ask, is there anything else you need to know or you want input on?
Sound off, council.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid budget.
I was fine with, I was thankful that we covered some of those questions that you had, but I was also pleased with the answers that I think we came up with and direction we gave you, so I'm good at this point.
Okay?
I would, I think my biggest heartburn is the, everything that appears, even though it's not funded, even though it's unfunded, is everything that appears on the CIP as it pertains to the Burlington Bees. I think we've done well in the past, above and beyond, taking care of the emergency needs, if that's the way you'd want to put it, or true needs. And that's more like a want list than a needs list. I mean, I think one of the items in there was a boiler or a fryer or something that should definitely not be for the citizens of Burlington to purchase and maintain. It would do me well if that entire list went away and that we continue to check with them on an annual basis, and that it is something that's truly a responsibility of the taxpayers to take care of.
So maybe just a little clarity on that, Mayor, if I may.
Okay.
So the city has a one-year agreement with the Bees, and we'll enter into negotiations there. That agreement expires June 30, so we will need to get back to the table with them. Last year, when we did that, we took out that $50,000 support. So right now, we still provide funding support and we pay the utilities, but the $50,000 for capital was taken out. So when I bring that agreement back, I guess that would be the time for some direction as to how you want to fund the facility and the organization through that agreement. And there may be language in there reflecting the capital improvement plan,
So
for
we can
example.
basically go through and edit that list.
You could edit that
Because there
list,
were
or
a
you
couple
could just
in
say
there
there are no assumptions made,
Yeah.
right?
Because there were a couple in there. Obviously, we took the turf out. There were a couple others in there that maybe. So I would be in favor of doing that as part of those negotiations. Because it could be a vastly different deal than what we've been doing with them.
Sure.
And they've kind of given a fair warning, I believe, about our desire and direction to go a little differently than what we've done for years.
Okay.
So, is that all right?
Well, I know that things appear on the 5-year plan, and there's a chance that none of us will be here at that 5th year. And a new council will look at that and say, hey, this has been on
Yeah, but
the capital improvements plan, and I think we need to, at the very least, identify what is truly responsibility of a city, and what we're gonna give up to fund that, if we're, you know, if we're gonna have to quit, or if we're gonna have to stop with the project of putting the doors on the fire department, or if we're going to have to extend another year or two on police vehicles. And the budget could get tight enough for that, and I would hope that councils would focus on the needs of the government entities and not of a private business.
noted.
I mean, that's probably my biggest concern. There's other things I don't like about the budget, but you know, I'm only 1 out of 5, and I know I'm outnumbered on that. I'll leave it go at this point. I may have more to say when it's time to approve the budget.
Okay.
But I don't feel at this time that I could say anything or convince anybody differently.
Well, I mean, I asked for the community field to be on there. It's not the bees, it's community field. I asked for it to be on there like the library and the auditorium, just because I wanted to be able to take a look at the whole biscuit of all our properties. That being said, every item was going to have to fight for it's on its own merits, and we can go through and edit that list. I'm happy to do that, as far as, especially on that particular one, because I would agree with you, Friar shouldn't be on there, just like the turf shouldn't be on there. There's some other things on there that I wasn't comfortable with, so I'm happy to sit down with you and go through that, and then when we go to negotiations, we can definitely discuss that with them. But, you know, we're not tying, you know, if none of us will probably be here in 5 years, maybe a few, but we can never really tie future council. The only thing was, we're suggesting these are the needs of our buildings, and so we need to edit. I would agree we need to edit that list a little bit. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
just give me
In case
direction.
you'd be interested in a triple net lease out there.
Well, I don't know, that's up to them, we'll have to see. I don't think that they would exist on a triple net lease, even if it was for $1. But I also would rather see them treated, and I'll be official on this, I'd rather see them treated like BRE, and I told them that. I think they need to find a way to extend their season. They're our manager of that facility, and they need to go beyond, because it used to be, they were going March to September, and now it's April to July, and they need to figure out a way to extend that season. And I think they have done a few things. During the wintertime, they had the snow globe thing, and unfortunately, it was the absolute worst day to have that. But that's the effort that I'm looking for, is how can they have an impact on our community economically to not only fill the hotel rooms, which they do every time they have a team come in from out of town to play, but drive some of our citizens out and about and participating. So that's where I'm at on it.
One other thing, Mayor, on the hotel motel tax contribution to the, what'd you call it, the community
The Arts Collective.
Yards Collective. I just wanted to mention that one of those that was a recipient last year has gotten a 70% exemption on their property taxes. The value was lowered $315,000. That figures out to about $6,072, not to the city, but in their total tax bill, which would bring about $3,000 to us. But overall, they have a reduction of $6,072. So there are opportunities outside the city to take advantage of plans and programs outside of taxpayers' monies. But
Okay.
I just thought that was interesting.
May I ask, the community field is our property, correct?
Yes, facility,
The whole facility.
on a land lease. It's on a land lease.
Long
It's
term.
complicated, yeah.
Okay.
But if there's interest from the council, I will send you the current agreement with the organization. You can review that, provide me some comments or questions back.
I'd rather
Like I
get-
said, probably would be April by the time, into March, by the time we start looking at that, so.
Yeah, I'd rather get started early than
Yep.
late on it, Mr. Bird.
Sure.
To respond to that, Kay, I'm a landlord, and I charge rent, and I expect the tenants to pay the utilities, and the rent is enough to cover property taxes and insurance, and we get none of that,
I've been a landlord too. Thank you.
okay? Well, you're one now, and that's the Beesfield, part of one,
Any other
or the community field, I'm sorry.
input, questions? Otherwise, you'll see later on the agenda, under set dates, we'll start the process.
Okay.
So we'll ask you to set a date for the notice of public hearing on property tax levy, which is the used to be the old max levy. It's a kind of a proposed scenario. It's not the actual budget.
Oh, that made everybody panic last year?
It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. So we'll ask you to set that later, and then we'll start by the end of March, you'll start having those hearings. So again, more time for input and questions, but it's going to get to a point where you won't be able to add to it, but you can take away from it, overall budget.
Okay. Moving on, Mr. McGregor's got a bulky item program to present. Hi, Nick.
That was just lucky timing, I guess. Good evening. So, I am discussing a bulky item program, and I kind of highlighted it. The three that we're on in this fall got more of a prelude of the reasons behind it. But the reason we're looking at replacing the citywide cleanup with a bulky item program, this is just one sample picture of some of the problems that have arisen from it. So why the change? The citywide cleanup in reference used to last 6 weeks. So it started in early, mid-April, went through into May, created large piles on the curbside. We had to bring in additional staff to get all the stuff picked up. Oftentimes, the piles are in such disarray that they're sorting through things to get them put in there. And then the back end, Eric's crew with nuisance was often brought in to deal with some of the cleanup. So what I'm proposing is a bulky item pickup program that is run year-round, giving residents 3 free pickups of bulky items, and I will highlight some of that. So how do you schedule it? I have a form which I'll have Eric go to here in a second. That's our preferred way to keep the phone traffic to the minimum. Obviously, if folks don't know how to use that process, we have phones, so you can call. I would prefer the online just from a function of the staff person that would have to take record of all these requests. So we're hoping that at 2 days in advance of your pickup, you would call in and say, hey, I've got a hide-a-bed, a couple other bulky items I'd like to get picked up, or fill out the form. We will respond within that 48-hour window, telling you when your pickup is. Our hope is that it can be picked up on the same day as your normal pickup to alleviate having multiple trucks in the same area throughout the week. So what can be collected? Very similar things to the way the citywide cleanup was created via policy. So furniture, mattresses, carpet, and I have them defined in a policy here, and other household bulky items. What cannot be collected? We get a lot of construction debris, meaning big sheets of drywall, rolls of insulation, hazardous waste. So we got a lot of paint cans on a regular basis. These items are also not allowed in the citywide clean, or the previous citywide cleanup, but they end up on the curbside. Electronics, we do have a tag program to deal with TVs and other appliances, but those don't get put into the garbage and then compacted. They actually get taken out to the landfill and dealt in a different method. So we have a different vehicle pick those up, and those are also currently scheduled through a similar process. And then overly heavy items, so your grandma's grand piano that has finally bit the dust, that's not something we can lift up. So the set-out rule, or the rules. So some of the problem that occurs during the previous citywide cleanup is that folks would set out their items 10, 12 days prior to their day's pickup. And so the goal with this is that they set it out essentially the night before. And then we pick up the next morning, and it is in a nice, neat pile, not like the image that you saw before. And some of the benefit to that is, well, some people find it an opportunity to cash in on other people's garbage, and that's their treasure. It's some of the problem, right? People are pilfering through the garbage for those treasures and kind of make a mess of it. So we expect that with a shorter set-out window time, that people won't have the opportunity to go rifling through things. So the benefits, I think it'll result in cleaner neighborhoods. You no longer have to wait until that 6-week window in the spring. You can call essentially any time or set it up via online forms. And I think it's a little more convenient. You don't have to wait till everybody's out there chucking their stuff to the curb line. If you would, I think that's all I have. Oh, benefits to the city. I think it is going to reduce nuisance complaints significantly. Now, you might have a few more staggered throughout the year, but when our citywide cleanup program has been operating is during a very heavy time of rain and grass growth. And so those nuisance guys, those 3 nuisance guys, have a ton of other things that they already have to deal with, let alone whole neighborhoods that have trash just strewn about their neighborhoods. So I think that it is a better program for everybody at. Let's go to the website, would you? And I can kind of explain what the submittal form. So our website is hosted through Civic Plus, and there's forms that are available, similar to our application process, applying for a job. We've altered, or we've made a form on our website. So this is not live yet, but it is a sample of what we can do. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the rules of what this program is. So you can see me call out a 10 by 5, a rectangle of space that you can have several or multiple different bulky items, not in some cases that we picked up, a 30-foot, their whole lot line essentially, in the curb. So we wanted to set up all the rules on the front end so people are reading this, hopefully reading this before they fill out the form. And then if you'd scroll down, you fill out just your normal materials. We have the trash day scroll as a selector, just so we can try and help figure out when to schedule you. And then a methodology in which to contact you via text, email, or phone call. And then some of the types of items. So we can try and get it on the front end if people think they're trying to get rid of a refrigerator or something. That's not something that we would take during the bulky item program. It is something we take, but it's, again, a different method in which we are going to get rid of it. And so just so we can try and track if you've used 2 of your bulky items, to be as honest, we have a method on the back end in which we're going to track properties and homeowners, but it's a little easier if you can help get some of that information on the front end. So
So Nick, what happens when you've done your 3? Are you done for the year, or?
No, you still can sign up for a bulky item pickup. It will, we have a trash tag system that's set up in a different part of the website that describes, if you have a hide-a-bed, I'm just speaking off the cuff. I don't know that
Sure.
this is the right answer. It's 4 trash tags.
Okay,
And so we will still do that process.
okay.
But essentially, it's allowing the people 3 times throughout the year.
So
And then it
rather-
would reset after January 1.
So rather than let it sit on their porch till spring, if they bought a new couch in October, they could get rid of it right away. And when you say bulky items, it's more than one item as long as it fits within that general space, right?
Correct.
And you don't want regular trash in there?
I do
Or
not.
small items?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And so, one of the other things that I call out in the policy, which is something I would have you all look at prior to, I'll put it in the next packet if you would like. Recycling, actually cardboard, was a big bulky item that we picked up over the last several years. And so, that's not something we want to continue to pick up. Something that can be picked up through recycling and can then be, repurposed, I think it's a better method to have it go through that. But once these people fill out this form, they've read all the rules above. That's an important piece that they actually, agree that they're going to follow those rules. So that way, when they don't follow the rules, we can give them a call back and let them know the reason why their pile of material was not removed because XYZ rule was broken. So the other piece of this is that we're hoping to have some online piece where we can create work orders and we can set out, we don't know exactly how many per day that we can get. We're expecting around 20 pickups per day. Obviously during citywide cleanup, we were doing over 100. But we have the ability to then put these work orders into a map to let people know, our drivers, let them know where these pickups are, so. The policy is something I would want you to take a look at and approve next week if there's no comments on changes. Councilman Scott and Mayor Billups, we met today to talk about kind of a previous conversation that we had back in December. Do you want to add the upgrade to trash can as a part of the resolution that would approve this policy? Because I can talk about that a little bit if you want
Well,
me to.
I'd like you to talk about it. I don't know if they'd have to be part of this policy, but I'd like to give you the discretion to, at some point in time during the year, for a resident, what he's talking about, I'll let you discuss that. I would say, I would say if you could send what you showed us today to the rest of council, I would appreciate it before next meeting so they can really go through it. Okay,
The
please.
next work session.
You want to discuss it next meeting?
I would hope to put it as a resolution on the agenda for next week, because we're discussing it now at the work
And we
session.
can still
And
discuss it.
then you can still discuss it if
Right.
it, especially if it's on the regular agenda.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and speak
Oh,
to that.
so one of the other pieces that we talked about is because there is a significant amount of what I consider household trash. In December, we discussed several different methods in which to try and deal with that. And one of the ones that we thought would be relatively easy is allowing folks to upsize their current trash cart. Currently, we charge somebody $35 for the exchange just because we have staff that has to go to their house, pick up their can, drop off their new can, clean, and put it back in inventory. So essentially, what we were discussing was allowing that free upgrade to not cost the resident anything. Still paying the increased cost for the trash can. So if they have a 65-gallon can, they're not going to get charged the 65-gallon can moving forward, and they want to upgrade to a 95, they would get charged the 95. So the only anticipation piece on when that timing would be is our current inventory of 65 and 95s. I can't imagine there's going to be a huge deluge of people trying to upgrade cans, but we only have about 90 of each of those types of cans. So, if 200 people call in and want a 95, we'd have to order some more, and those take a period of time to get.
And the reason that came up is because when you did your little teaser ad, you know, we had several people comment, well, I don't want to put that stuff that I normally would throw away at spring cleanup because it's not a bulky item, was all kinds of stuff. They didn't want to put it in their trash can to take up space for normal trash. So I think the option could be, you can make a one-time upgrade without a handling charge, but you're not going to go back and forth.
Yeah.
You make an upgrade, you pay it costs you an extra $3, but man, then you can throw anything you basically want to that's within parameters on that program, so.
Yep. And the one piece I guess I would always mention is trash tags are available. We've had the trash tag program for as long as I've been at the city. They're $4. It is, you know, if you have a little extra trash, I think it makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna continually use trash tags on a monthly basis, it probably makes sense to upgrade your trash can size, because the dollar difference between the trash can size and the tags, it makes more sense to go with the cans. But, so, any questions on the policy itself, or kind of the replacement program from citywide cleanup to this bulky item?
I like the idea of the replacement program. However, I would like to see that we charge the same for a second can as we do for a first can, to encourage people to use the recycling. Because as you say, I see cardboard out all the time, and I think this is a valuable resource, and people are just throwing it away.
Yeah, that's a bigger discussion we need to talk about with recycling.
I could bring
because it's
you,
not
I could bring some
necessarily
numbers
mixed.
too.
Yeah.
It's hard for me, I should probably bring you some numbers on the amount of people that have multiple 65s or multiple 95s. That might be a true test to explain how many there are.
Okay, that would be great.
I'll do that.
But I agree with you. Part of the problem is on the recycling is that little container holds newspapers, basically. It doesn't really hold anything else. It doesn't hold cardboard, but the theory is you can set the card, on recycling day, you can set cardboard and then set your card on top of it.
Right.
If you can bend over and drag the card all the way out. I'm not a fan of their card, let's just put it.
So area recyclers would be the first to say that you can use any container
Yeah.
to put recycling out, whether it's your tin cans or your paper or your cardboard. You just have to have that green bin there to show that you're part of the program, so they know where to stop,
Yeah.
right? That's really the marker there, but you can use any other number of containers for your recycling on that day.
What were you gonna say?
That's what I was going to
Okay.
say, that, you use old plastic totes that are broken or whatever, and they won't take them.
Yep.
They'll just take the stuff that's inside. And since we don't have a single stream recycling program, you have to separate things anyway, so.
The question I had about this form, Nick, was there a spot in there, like, let's say I have one thing it's iffy, like, let's say I have a microwave. The description in there, is that a way of them to ask if that's appropriate and you get back to
You
them?
can submit, so if you wanted
Right
to
there
put
in
compliance and you write
description, yes.
microwave in there, we'll give you a call and say that's not something we're gonna take during.
Okay,
It's something that we would take for the appliances, but it's not something during this free bulky item program.
right, okay, so it kind of gives them a chance to ask before they just throw it out.
Correct.
That's a good idea.
Yep. Well, I feel like this program makes makes the tenant or the property owners take onus in the process. I feel like during the citywide cleanup, people saw their neighbors chucking things to the curb, and they're like, I got stuff too. And so it just all went out, and it just didn't stop, so.
I also would point out that anybody who doesn't have a computer at home can go to the public library and use the public library to fill out this form online. And somebody at the library is always glad to help people who need help.
Yeah, I pulled it up on my phone.
Could you go back to the PowerPoint, please, Eric? And so, assuming there's no changes, even if there were some minor changes, big programmatic issues would be the thing I would be apprehensive of. The next steps. So I would make sure that once this is approved via you next week, that we'd have to push major public outreach over the next coming weeks. I would hope to go live, so to speak, March 1, just to kind of give us a little bit of semblance of time before people wake up to the fact that citywide cleanup as it was is no longer what it's going to be. So we would change and do some website slash Facebook
Which one is it?
type
Oh, it's
things.
that one over there, sorry. Tim's being blinded, we're trying to help
Oh,
him
yeah,
out here.
that angle of the sun, right?
Go ahead.
I noticed some glares on your faces, but,
It's a healthy glow.
Thanks, Terry.
but
Thought it
we,
was you, right?
what, I just thought I was that bright.
Yeah.
I know, that was lame. Website and Facebook blitz, but then also some sort of utility bill or like newsletter, postcard type thing. So upon that, we'll get to work on doing those types of things.
The chatter pages on Facebook's not an official notice.
I imagine we'll share it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would say that official notices would go through the city's prescribed page.
That's fair.
Wherever
People could
folks
go
want
there.
to try and
Share
share
that,
things,
yeah.
they are more than welcome.
Do what they want.
Yep.
Well, anyway.
Any final thoughts for tonight for Nick, and then we can discuss this on Monday, gang?
I think it's a great idea because I just could hardly stand driving, particularly on Division last spring during spring cleanup. It was awful, just awful.
Noted.
I think two things. One, this is really a interdepartmental type thing as well, because on the tail end of citywide cleanup, Eric's department gets
Hammered.
slammed with stuff that didn't get cleaned up because it wasn't accepted into the program. It sits out there, and now it gets wet, and that type of thing. And he's had to deal with that for years and years on the back end. As a resident, I appreciate this type of program because I don't always clean out my basement or take out that old couch in April. Maybe sometimes I want to do that in October or August or December, and this provides that flexibility. And as a homeowner, I get 3 opportunities to do that through the year rather than just one shot in the spring.
And if you timed it up right, you could call tomorrow and then call next week. You call the week after, get your stuff all cleaned up
Yep,
Yeah, in the same amount of time.
in the same amount of time.
absolutely. Thank you, Nick, good job. Okay, boards and commission reports. Tim, did you have anything?
No, it's all happening this week.
Okay, Annie?
Nope. Sounds-
I had GGB, they are doing a couple of different industrial park expansions, which is cool. They're realizing they need to grow that area, so that's good. Be looking for that when they make the official announcement. Kay, did you have anything?
No, sir.
Robert?
It's at the end of the month.
Okay. Moving on to appointments. Would you get those, PT?
Yep. So the Human Rights Commission, Den Powell's term will expire on March 17th of this year. He's expressed interest in serving another term and has requested that the council consider reappointing Den to a new 3-year term, expiring March of 2029.
Okay, so we'll vote on that,
Yep.
check out the application. Moving on to the proposed regular agenda for February 17th, 2026. First will be a motion for preliminary adoption of a second reading of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 73 speed regulations of the Burlington Municipal Code. Mr. McGregor.
So this is the second reading of the speed code. As previously approved is the time schedule around the school zones, altering the current ordinance that says 7:30 to 4, and then the signage that currently says 7:30 to 5. And in the amendment would make it 7:30 to 4:30. Since the last approval at department head, the police department and ourselves discuss the speed along Mason Road and some of the difficulties, some of the things that you have brought up. I think it was noted, especially after the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit zone came up, but to make a more consistent speed limit between Roosevelt and the S curves, or Star Avenue. And so I have an image up here that is showing the image of one of the amendments that I have made to the speed code. And so it would change the speed limit on Mason Road in the orange sections, or whatever color you see there, reddish orange, would be 30 miles an hour. Currently, between Roosevelt and just around Haskell, it is 35 mile an hour, and then it dips down to 25 the 4 blocks before the S-curves. And then it remains 25 until it hits Summer Street. In our conversation, we believe that the S-curve should stay 25 miles an hour. There are folks on a regular basis that have trouble navigating the S-curves. But in the memo, I highlighted the amendment change. We did have a speed study conducted that discusses kind of the process in which we reviewed the speed area. Whenever you're reducing a speed limit, council has the ability to reduce speed limits. My concern is always when you're increasing the speed in an area. So specifically between Haskell area and the S-curves, it's currently 25 mile an hour. That increase would take it to 30. While it seems insignificant, still something you would want some engineering backing on to make that decision. So after our conversation, I think that it's probably makes a lot of sense to just make it a consistent speed through there. I know you all have heard this throughout the years. Apologize that it took this long to get it in front of you. Should have probably done it the last time, or the previous reading. But I did just noted that there was an amendment. I think that given this amendment change, while maybe not so significant, probably needs, I don't know if it changes our process for readings, the number of. So I'll let you all discuss, and if you have questions,
Okay.
please, Chief, could answer some or help me.
So what you're alluding to is you're wondering if we should go ahead and, because we have a propensity to waive from the third reading when it seems like it's a no-brainer. With there being an amendment, do we have to start over? That's why I'm asking.
You don't have to start over, but I would not recommend waiving
Okay.
third and adopting. I'd continue on with the second and third readings.
That way we could have people
Yeah.
weigh in on it.
Yes.
Is council thoughts, concerns?
I guess I would say that I don't think that's gonna be a super popular decision, going to 30 from 35, but. that's
Going
all.
from 30 to what?
Going from 35 to 30.
30.
Did I flip-flop it?
Yeah, you
No,
did.
you,
Okay.
That's all right.
Or not, are you going 30 all the way out to Roosevelt?
Yeah, that's what his
Okay.
proposal is, and then slows down to the S-curves to 25, then resumes back to 30 after the S-curves. And I was, I'll plead guilty, I was the one that brought it up, because it's just so weird that you're here, then you're here, then you're here, then you're here on a straight piece of road. It just seemed like it was, I'd rather go 30 and not have to worry about it if I'm gonna get pulled over for going a certain speed, or have someone blaring their horn behind me.
well, based on the way they conduct speed studies is they see what people are driving, and they use the 85th percentile to make a basis. Everybody's exceeding the 25 mile an hour speed zone by a fair amount. They're all going 35. So I don't know how else to address that, but they are.
I wasn't pointing to anybody with a comment about the 35 not being popular.
I just
30.
know that when people continue to go 25 and it's supposed to be 35, it feels like I'm being tortured.
So
And I know then
in
30 is
relation,
gonna really feel bad.
this 30 mile an hour zone fits an arterial corridor that has residential touches, so very similar to West Avenue. The change from 30 to 35 only comes as you get into more of a commercial industrial area. So while the east or the western portion of Mason Road has more commercial feel, the eastern portion is more residential. So I'm not trying to relate everything to something else that we have, but you have an arterial road that's, 6 to 8 blocks north of there that is very similar constructed.
Well, I mean, council, check with your citizens and see what they think, because we'll have two readings on it
Yep.
to see.
My personal opinion is I'm happy with the 30, and I wish that people would slow down all over Burlington as it is. And it's still school zone adjacent, and I like that you okay there?
Yeah, just, it's all wonky.
But I think that the 30 miles an hour is appropriate, and I think slowing down for the little curb there to 25 is appropriate, and that you're doing a consistent speed. I'm one of the people that Annie follows that didn't realize it turned from 25 to 35. And when I start going 30, I'm like, am I speeding? Am I speeding? And then when it gets up to 35, I'm like, oh no, I'm holding everyone up. So I like the consistency, and I think it's appropriate for a 2-lane on the edge of town near a residential neighborhood, so.
24 or 25 years ago when this was constructed, the reason that 25 mile an hour exists is because the citizens that lived on that street insisted that be
These folks
that
here.
speed limit. The reason the curves are 25 mile an hour is because they're designed as 25 mile an hour curves. They're flat. I mean, they're just, 25 mile an hour is almost too fast for
I've seen a
for those
motorcycle
curves.
accident there.
There are plenty of people on an annual basis that prove that 25 mile an hour is too fast.
Yeah.
Mayor, I wonder if Chief Schaefer would have a comment or two.
Anything?
Yeah, we highly recommend the change from 35 to 30. In addition to making it more consistent, we also believe with the amount of traffic at Lawrence Drive and all the businesses there and the traffic that goes into Dunn Brothers, you have a short distance from Roosevelt Avenue to that, and people are stopping and turning and stuff like that. And you have a lot more accidents when you have that increased speed at 35. It should also be noted that West Avenue is 30 all the way down to get to Garfield, so it'll be consistent also.
Great points.
The rest of my thoughts on, and I'm good with the 30 mile an hour too. And for the very reason the chief just said is you can hardly see to your right when you're coming out of Dunn's and see oncoming traffic, especially in one of my vehicles. So it's, if we can get it slowed down a little bit and give you a little better opportunity to get out. The other thing is prior to, I think it was 2002, there were no school zones. There was none at all. The school zones were a compromise because the city was paying for crossing guards. And during that budget crunch time, we opted to eliminate paying for those. And we give the schools the option of funding it themselves. And I think they did for 1 year. And then that's when they come to us and said, can we do something else? Is that, you recall that, Chief?
I remember many of shifts being the school crossing guard out there in front of us. Yeah, that was the compromise.
All right. So we are we good to go with this or not? Thanks for that comment though, Tim, that does make some sense. So we'll vote on it, but we're not gonna
skip
waive
it.
per recommendation, okay? Does that sound good?
Thank you.
Yes.
Good, council, good? All right. Number 2, resolution approving urban revitalization tax exemptions pursuant to Chapter 404 of the State Code of Iowa, tax abatements. Who's got that? Don't everybody jump in.
Eric, you have the applications, Eric.
Annette put it together. This is the same as the previous years, just goes through an Exhibit A, number of applications since the inception in each of the different categories. On the second page of that, it shows the residential, new residential construction, renovation, and business commercial applications that have been submitted. And per our requirements of the policy, they have to be completed and have final inspections, get all their permits, have all their inspections in order for them to come forward to council. So we've had a couple that might not be quite ready, that'll come forward next year, but this shows the permit values of the construction, assessed values, permit pulled, And so these are the ones that meet our requirements for tax payment, and they filed either the 10-year for residential, commercial is allowed a 3-year 100%, or a 10-year sliding scale, the 80 down to 20%. So if you have any questions on those projects, can try and answer that.
Eric always does a great job, much better than me. The one thing I would point out here, I think, because our abatement program is not only for new construction, but for renovations, if it improves the value of the property over 15%, on that second page there were 11 renovations in this particular batch at $2.3 million. I think that's significant. That means people are investing in their homes.
In buildings, yes.
I only had one question. It was about when you look at the number of applications and the amount that actually went through, business commercial was the only one that fell short by just 3. So are there times where we kick out an application or reject it for a specific reason? I was just curious.
Are you addressing this issue?
You're gonna answer.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Jeez.
Nick's chiming in.
If you don't have an answer, I was just curious because when you look at the new residential, when you add up the number of applications over the 10-year or the 3-year, it all totals out until you get to the business commercial, and there's 3 that didn't make the cut, and I just wondered if we mathed it wrong or if
When you say didn't make the cut, what do you mean?
19 plus 53 is 72, and 75 applications were turned in. And everything else, the totals are there. I was just curious about it. But it doesn't really matter, it's just personal curiosity on that.
I'll have to check with Annette on that. I'm not sure how those numbers work
It could
together.
just be a math error there or
Yeah.
something like that, so.
Well, we'll let you check it out and let us
Yeah.
know.
And I will just note on the renovation, there's 2 projects that didn't have a permit value. We don't require permits for roofing, siding, windows. So they might have done a project. We'd still do an inspection, a final inspection. They might have done a project that didn't require permit, but they still and felt they improved the value of their home. Ultimately, these go to the county assessor. They have to increase the value of their home a certain percent to qualify. If they don't, then they wouldn't receive the abatement, so.
Thoughts, concerns, gang?
I think TIF's a useful tool, so.
So this is abatement?
This is
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, the
Yep.
abatement and then TIF
Yep.
following. But yeah, I think it's a useful tool to prompt people to invest in their properties and improve them, yeah.
Okay. Thoughts, concerns, ready to move on? Moving on. Number 3, resolution approving minimum assessment agreements pursuant to Chapter 404.3C of the State Code of Iowa, assessments agreements, commercial property.
I'll tee this one up. Eric, I'll have the specific information. This one is new. This comes out of 2023's legislative session in House File 718, and it amends Chapter 404 by adding Section .3C, minimum assessments for commercial properties. The difficulty with this one, so this is the first time we've seen these, right, Eric? I think we didn't see them last year, just based on timing and construction and applications. But the problem with these under 404 urban revitalization, we see these under 403 urban renewal, because when the city enters into a development agreement with a developer, you ask for a minimum assessment so that you can be assured of some type of return or investment in the project before you rebate tax dollars. Under an abatement process, that's not mechanically how this works. Abatement is you simply the property owner doesn't pay the taxes. Under 403 urban renewal, they pay the taxes, then they're rebated some portion. They have to perform. Here, there's no performance other than a qualifying project. So when property taxes are just abated, to set a minimum assessment to that really doesn't, it's incongruent. It doesn't matter what the assessment is, because a certain percentage of the taxes are abated based on the program. In this case, commercially, they can choose the 3 years at 100% or the 10-year sliding scale. It's just a percentage of whatever's there. There's no assumptions or risk or involvement from the city. And so, but this came along because of House File 718, the legislature wanted to see minimum assessment agreements because they saw them over here in Chapter 403 and they thought they needed them in 404. But there's really no connection. But we're still required to have them. So that's why you're seeing, what do we have, 3 or 4 of them this time around. So I'll let Eric maybe talk a little bit about the projects themselves, and then if there's other questions, I can
May
answer.
I ask then, the 3 that are at the bottom of the previous sheet, are those the same 3 that we're talking about here?
Yeah, commercially, they would be.
Anything to add, Eric?
Yeah, as Chad mentioned, we didn't have any commercial applications last year, so these are the first 3. This just sets the minimum assessment. They could be assessed higher in the future or by the county assessor. The numbers in there were the initial assessment numbers from the county assessor. Those may change down a little bit before Monday's meeting. We just wanted to get some numbers. As we get those signed applications from the property owners, it may go down a little bit, but that doesn't mean the assessment from the county will go down. That just means the minimum that the city's approving may change a little bit. So these are signed by the property owners, by the assessor, and then ultimately by the city. And as Chad mentioned, ultimately the county assessor's gonna set a value that he feels is appropriate. It just can't be under this amount here. The 3 projects as shown here, 2900 Division Street, that is since sold, so we didn't have a assessment agreement with the previous owner. So we're working with the new owner on the property, had previously been aesthetics, I think similar type use moving forward. And then 1532 Osborne Street is the new gas station there on Osborne, and 1115 North Roosevelt is the Billy Simpson Wingstop building. So 2 new buildings on Osborne and Roosevelt, and then Division was just a remodel of an existing property there that was converted from residential to commercial, so. The agreements will be signed by the property owners, and then we'll have a signature page by the county assessor, and then ultimately by the council.
Okay, council, any thoughts, concerns?
That was my confusion, wasn't it? The 3 that didn't add up were actually because they're not gonna be abatements, they're gonna be moved to this new thing where they have to have a minimum assessed value.
There'll still be abatements,
Still
but
abatements.
this is just a second step only for commercial properties.
Okay.
This really has no effect on the abatement, other than if they don't enter into this, if they decide not to sign, then they don't qualify for abatement.
So the current, before this change though, TIF was set up so it was based on the current value of the property and then it stayed there, right? And now it has
Not
to have a
necessarily,
minimum-
it's still subject to,
It can have a minimum assessed value?
Yep.
Okay.
Commercial properties have always qualified for tax abatement. This is just the first year that minimum assessment agreements are required.
Okay.
yep,
Is that to protect us or?
there's no reason for it.
There's just no reason. Okay, I'm confused by why
I'm just
why
gonna be
they're doing
blunt.
it.
There's no
Okay.
reason for it.
All right,
It's
thank you.
something
Because they saw it
can
over here and
do.
they thought they wanted it here. That's it.
Because Big Brother said so.
It's been a while since I've been confused.
Any other thoughts, concerns before we move on? All right, hearing none, let's roll.
So this is a state mandated thing,
Yeah, that's what they're
basically.
saying.
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what- Got it.
Number 4, resolution approving the 5-year road plan for fiscal year 2027 through 2031. Nick?
So I gave a presentation on the 5-year road plan back in late November, early December, and I told you I would finalize it through a resolution and a document, and looks like I'm just getting to it. So, in the packet, I have a resolution and memo, but I also have copied the meat of what we're trying to accomplish. So I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of the 5-year road plan. For fiscal year '27, we have Cascade Bridge, which needs to be altered because we've got $6 million coming our way.
Say it again, Nick.
We have $6 million coming our way for a replacement. In fiscal year '28, we have Sunnyside Avenue from Roosevelt to Osborne planned. You can also see I highlighted Seal Coat. that is road use tax funds that are budgeted for that. The other ones, these projects for our local match, those are GO bonds, so property taxes. So fiscal year 28, 29, we didn't build anything for the last few years into that project because of some of the potential bonding issues with, or the amount that Cascade Bridge was going to cost, along with some of our other obligations. So that's those first 3 years. The 2 years, to fiscal year 30 and 31, we have quite a few different little mill and overlay projects planned. Argyle, Washington Valley, Hayes, Argyle, and Verdell. Those are off of Agency and Flint Hills Drive area. And then we just approved an SBG, or a State Transportation Block Grant, for Mount Pleasant Street from Roosevelt to Curran. And you can see our local funding match and the grant that we're going after. Obviously, those numbers could change should we potentially not receive that grant, but I wanted to highlight it in the 5-year road plan. So, and then fiscal year 31, we programmed, we don't know what road we're applying for, but we wanted to program some match money for that grant, and then some more overlay. And I put overlay because we don't anticipate, some of them are concrete roads right now, and we would go in there with a thin asphalt layer to make the drive surface better. So that's kind of the bulk of it. That was really, really fast, but I don't want to take too much of your time since I kind of already discussed it before. So.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts or concerns for Nick, council?
Nick, I thought we had possibility of the roundabout for 26, 27.
Yeah. So not knowing when that money will come, it could come soon, and we might have to start engineering quickly. So yeah, I probably should have put that in fiscal year 27 with an anticipated, local match of essentially engineering the design costs, but the actual construction. We had applied for a RISE grant, which is the Revitalize, it's Economic Development Grant, I don't know the acronym, and then a TSIP, which is Traffic Safety. So with that, we would have essentially 100% of the construction done. But yes, that probably should have been in fiscal year 27. I can alter that.
What kind of engineering cost, just on a whiz-bang guess?
100,000,
Okay, so
200,000.
basically nil for a project, okay.
Yep.
Not that 100, 200,000 is nil, but when you're talking about millions of
In the
dollars.
perspective of millions, it's, it's all relative, right?
Yeah. All right, council, thoughts, concern, ready to move on? Thank you, Nick. Number 5, resolution approving purchase of a 2026 Warren Total Patcher T7500 from Public Works Department.
It feels like with the last piece of that, we're buying some sort of Terminator technology that'll take over with the T7500. But it's a total patcher. I have an image up on the screen. They switched from orange to green or a reddish color. So essentially it's an emulsion rock patching tool. It will blow out the hole. We have oil and we'll put a tack down and then an emulsion of rock and that oil will be put into the hole, and then rock is kind of topped off at the on the top of it so people don't drive through it. Let me see my numbers here. We have a budget for fiscal year 26 of $101,000 after we went through some bidding processes. This product would cost $89,750, so under budget. So I would recommend approval. It helps us greatly and to be able to patch things, especially when hot mix asphalt isn't available until late April, early May. It definitely helps us attack some of those potholes that you see creeping up this time of year.
Is this retiring the old machine?
It is.
Okay. Thoughts, concerns, council?
Can we put it on consent?
Let's leave it on here, because it's a quick motion, so. Number 6 is resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 Heil 23-yard automated front loader garbage truck for the Public Works Department.
So this purchase is it's a replacing a rear load garbage truck. This is an automatic or automated garbage truck, exactly like one that we currently own. The Corrado can is the one where you have the bucket out front. It has forks on the front, grabs the trash can, flips it in, and then it comes up over top. It allows the vehicle and trash operations to be operated with one driver that doesn't have to leave the vehicle. It has been a godsend for trying to get as much done as we can. It definitely handles significantly more trash than a two-man operated trash truck in our current operations. I see automated trash trucks. Might as well show the dang picture of it.
what's the picture?
So this is a stock image of what we're expected to get. Ours is a 23-yard. We have a 23-yard. In the purchase is also a Corrado can. So this is the Corrado can. We have 2 of them currently. My goal would be to have 2 of them with a third. So if that piece of hydraulics breaks down, we can swap it out with one of the other ones, and the new one would swap with any of the old ones, and then we can continue in our operations. We had a little bit of malfunction on our current truck this late summer, early fall, and it definitely hampered us in trying to get things done. But very important piece of equipment as we move forward with solid waste. Ideally, I'd like to see us get into another automated truck. Definitely help cut down on workman's comp claims, which the garbage industry has probably the highest workman's comp claim out there, just because of the walking up and down alleys and moving, relatively heavy pieces of objects. So this cost of this unit, we have a budget of $500,000 for fiscal year '26, and the total purchase price is $492, I believe, is what was in the memo. I think I got a discount for $482, but I'll confirm that before
Okay.
I send forward the memo. So just 8,000 shy of the budgeted amount. These are big, heavy pieces of equipment, so.
Thoughts, concerns, council?
Nope.
Moving on. And then number 7, resolution approving a short-term property, thanks, Nick, property lease and site control agreement with Great River Fuels, Inc. for a city-owned property. Mr. Burns.
So I'll set this one up. We've been working with Jonathan Hazel for quite some time. Actually, we held a meeting with him and some of his previous partners, I believe, several months ago up at the partnership. Mr. Hazel's working on waste to fuel strategy solution and is looking for some investors and partners on this program. He has asked for a short-term site control lease with the city for the Dresser-Rand site. And so you see that draft agreement, at least, if you will, in the packet. We're still negotiating that, and it's sitting in the city attorney's office right now. But Jonathan and I have both been through it. It looks pretty good from this perspective. Again, it's basically a short-term site control so that he can continue to do his due diligence and work with his investors on moving this forward. If he's successful in that and brings the project to town, we would look at a more substantial site lease if this is where he ends up. He may not even be here, but Jonathan's here. We'll let him talk about his program and what he's got, so.
Welcome, Mr. Hazel. Fire away.
Well, nice to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I guess, this is kind of a project that could get extensive in a presentation. I'll try to keep it very brief. The main focus here is I guess it's around 8 acres here on the Central Avenue. The main purpose for that is I do have 2 investment groups and potentially a third that I'm working with, and they essentially require site control. So as the process goes for funding the kind of funds we're talking about, which is preliminary, about $150 million project. These kind of projects, they want to make sure that the buildings that we're looking at don't get sold while they're funding it. So the project, as you'll see, as we get into it a little bit, we've actually put it all around the former GE AB&P building. So that's what we've done, the specs with the engineering program for the manufacturer of the machines they've got into the building. So what we've done is kind of a twofold process where we've looked at the A&B GE building, done everything around that. We've kind of also looked at the Case building, but as we all know, that's a big question mark. But we've looked at that building, done the specs around it, but as a backup, looked at the 8 acres and what it would cost to actually build if we couldn't get the GE building. So that's the reason for, as I said, I've been working with Chad on this and why we would need the 8 acres. The presentation's a broad presentation. I mean, it tells a little bit. It's, I think anyone, as I'm listening to all your issues with trash and recycling, this is a provocative project in that what it does is it takes plastic and turns it into our models. It can turn it into any fuel, but our model, the most profitable model, is to diesel fuel. And what's nice about it's any plastic. So it's not just the typical recycling that you see in your green bin, and which we know about 10% of that only really gets recycled. This can take everything from a plastic wrapper to a kid's slide, and then it takes it and turns it into fuel. The other thing that's nice about it is it's not an emission-based process, so it's not something that, it's a paralysis, it doesn't burn it. It's more of a, what you might even call it, kind of like it's kind of almost a pressure cooker. It almost turns it into a soup, if you will. It takes all the plastic, it puts it into the hopper, puts it in, and they then add catalyst into it, and then that boils it down into the fuel they want. Diesel fuel, it can do jet fuel, it can do other, but it can do a lot of 175 gallons of diesel fuel per ton. So our units are 50-ton units, and our objective is to get 5 50-ton units. So it's a lot of plastic. So that's what I've spent a lot of time looking into the plastic process to get that. This presentation I'll show you here, it's a little, where we're at now, and I'm real happy to be here, is we've worked now, or we have a logistics team that has all the trucking that can acquire the plastic, and we've spoken with large plastic wholesalers, which we buy the plastic. Our goal is to work with municipalities to get as much plastic as we can. The other thing we can do, and I just was on the phone today with the manufacturer, the other thing we can do is actually we can actually get used oil. So that's another feedstock for us. So that's another thing I'm going to be working on for the next few months to look into that as a sourcing. That's the first generation. The second generation, we can actually do wood products. They have machines that will take pallets, railroad ties, trees, any kind of wood, and that's a different, the offtake on that isn't fuel necessarily. It can be power, it can be other oxygen, actually for hospitals, or fertilizer. So that's the wood, and then after that, we can do municipal solid waste. So that is that's the ultimate goal. I mean, it can literally take trash and turn it into fuel. So that's what I've been working on. I've been working on this in one form or another since 2018. I was down in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, and met a guy down there that was doing these type of machines to get all the waste that was there at Hurricane Maria to turn into fuel, and that's how I learned about it. And I've spent several years since then learning all about this and the different processes. So I'll show you this. This is it's 135 million. That's what it says there. We're probably closer to 150 initially. And again, you'll see it's geared around the 395,000 square foot facility there, the GE building. And it literally does that. It takes the plastic, you take it and put it into the hopper, and out comes the diesel fuel. Then you can see this is each 50-ton unit. I mean, this is the basic numbers, 8750 gallons of low sulfur diesel. Those are some of the big numbers you see, over 50 million tons of unrecycled plastic waste in the U.S., what it could do on a national level. Obviously, it's big. But one of the main questions we always get is, why hasn't this been done in the United States? There's a few kind of small projects like this around. This particular company, I believe, has 19 units around the world. They already do this. So this isn't untested. The engineer I've been working with has been doing this for 30 years. Most of what they do is in military bases. So they do military bases in Asia. Here in the United States, a lot of it's been, I guess, a lot of politics is really what's kept it from going. And whether either side of the aisle, on one side you might say there you have a lot of green concerns are simply making fuel. A lot of people don't like the idea of making more fuel. And that's something I think now, it's truly recycling plastic into making fuel. And that's something that, for whatever reason, some people, we've actually had some purists who've had questions on that. But I think that's now changing a lot, the landscape, and now we're seeing interest in, literally, it's an oil production. It's essentially a refinery, and it cleans up plastic. I think microplastics is now at the forefront. People know that is an issue, and this is truly a way to clean it up. The other thing is you might see that in black there, our entire model is without government incentives. So we're not coming here asking for abatements. We're not coming here talking tax credits, grants. None of that's part of the process. What's nice is our model makes money, and not only does it make money, but we can make more money and we will hit all the different tax credits and other things that are out there once we get it in play. Yeah, so you see the process. Again, it's pretty straightforward. It might sound pretty neat, but it's just picking up plastic, putting it through, and the catalytic thermal decomposition. It takes it, breaks the plastics down, and it puts in with the catalyst, and from there it makes the diesel. The company, by the way, at the top is called Keepero, and they're actually a U.S.-based company that has the founder and the patent holder is here in the United States. This tells the different plastics that can be used, and there's pretty much anything can be used. The foam packaging is not desirable. Like they could sort some of that out, but it can take that. So yeah, it's pretty much, again, that's one of the challenges with recycling today is you have to sort through all your plastic. This fundamentally can change plastic pickup. And we've talked about this, how this can almost be an incubator program here in Burlington. We've met with the Recycling Center. We've met with the Waste Commission on this. It has a lot of capability to do a lot of things. There's the basic numbers, and that's obvious. You can see we're going for 175 gallons per ton. That's our big one. We can do gasoline. We probably won't do very little, if any, of that. The other one, byproduct, is carbon black, and that's used for tires and other process of road construction, and that's another byproduct that's profitable as well. This tells a little bit about diesel. I think anybody who knows anything about fuel knows the benefits of fuel or diesel fuel versus regular fuel. It's not electric, but it's diesel, and so we're glad we're doing that. And I've obviously put in here about Burlington, and so that this is a Burlington-centric presentation. I've been out there talking to people around the country and actually other countries about Burlington. What I normally tell people is, people go there. One of the challenges we have here is the name. When you talk to people around the nation, I don't know how many Burlingtons are out there, but we're not even top when you come to Google. So I have to tell people, okay, Burlington, Iowa, we're in the center of the country. We're right next to the Mississippi River, and this is where the Burlington Northern Santa Fe started. And that gets traction. But yeah, usually people start off thinking I'm talking about Burlington, Vermont. So there's some of the current global installations of the production. I have a video. I It's not on here, I believe, but I have a couple of videos that show it in use. Yeah, again, you can see, and that's one of our process. We'll probably go to Taiwan and specifically and look at it. But yeah, it's, you know, it's kind of a giant still. It's you know, again, it's simple process. Our process, as you can see there, secure feedstock, we've done that. We've been on the phone, I've been on the phone with several large wholesale producers that we just buy the plastic. Our goal is to try to get as much free as we can, and I have that ability through different area processes, but that has to get built out. So our first one will just be buying the plastic in bulk. And then offtake, we do have, we've been going, I've talked with several here, obviously City of Burlington, City of West Burlington, potential to sell locally. Our big one has been, frankly, Rife Oil. They'll take anything we produce. So as will the Burlington Short Line. And I've had multiple discussions with Burlington Northern Santa Fe, who are very interested. They're going to wait till we get funding before they would go any further. It's hard to do much else. That large a company. There's our phase, the deploying the 5 units, and we're on track. This is our last step here. We have everything, our package, ready for our financer. So our last package, or excuse me, last step for the package is the submission of the contract to show site control. So we're excited to get that out. We're open, you know, real soon. And probably 3 to 6 months, hopefully not 6 months, but I've been told 60 to 120 days after that. So potentially we can go bigger. And, you know, we've talked about U.S. expansion, et cetera, but we're starting from the center of the country, and this is what we show. So again, this is what I talk a lot when I'm talking to people nationally. I think people go, well, you're in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's kind of, you talk to someone from L.A. or New York, and they think we're, you know, the flyover zone. Yet if you do the circle around that, Iowa, 500 miles, you're in southeast Iowa, we have 85 million people. And if you do that same circle, there's a site you can go to online and do that. In Los Angeles, there's 45 million people. So that's a benefit I talk about all the time when it comes to economic development here in the Midwest. And for what we're talking about with feedstock and transportation in the river especially, it's excellent. So anyway, I use that slide a lot when talking to people. And again, it's just, you know, I'm going through the basics here, just the transportation, why Burlington, you know, with it, I think now, as we all know, in the last 15 years now, we definitely have a good four-lane corridor, except for right across the river for the stretch, which hopefully someday in our lifetime actually gets remedied. But other than that, we're definitely now have the transportation here on the roads. We've talked with the barge group, and that's another thing, obviously, that we'd want to implement to some degree in feedstock and potentially offtake, but definitely feedstock and bringing plastic up. Railroad, I think we all know, self-explanatory. Had a lot of discussions with both the Burlington Northern Santa Fe and also the Burlington Short Line here. It's just, again, some more, this is more specific about what we're trying to do here with the feedstock. Our goal is to try to get as much localized as possible to reduce down the travel of the feedstock. So that's going to be our goal over the next, especially next year. There's a lot of waste out there that people are paying to get rid of. Our goal is to start getting that waste, making arrangements or making different contracts to either get to beat what they're paying or get as much free. And so that's some of the different partnerships that we look to do out there. So we think there's a lot of opportunities here locally to work with the Recycling Center, Solid Waste Commission to start identifying plastic sources, getting it right from the households or the companies, and start reducing down the use of landfills. I mean, that's, we're kind of in a way we could actually get into mining landfills. So we're talking here is the actual, I would call a real recycling program. We're not just saying we're going to recycle plastic and only do 10% of it. We can do all of it, and that's really the circular economy. And again, we're making diesel and carbon black out of it. This is, again, local offtake, and I think we've spoken here how we can definitely, whether it's through a partnership with, say, Rife Oil or another wholesale offtake agreement, we also can make arrangements with the local municipalities to provide them diesel fuel at schools or your city vehicles. So that's something we'd like to do and give it at a lower rate. We're going to be producing it at, our goal is to be 25 cents or lower a gallon than what you're paying at the pump. Our model right there, you see 250. We think we can go probably up to 275. I mean, as we know right now, gas is kind of a moving target. 250 is what we've done as a very conservative number, and we make money doing it at that. Gasoline, we have that. It's in there as a slide. It's probably irrelevant, frankly. We probably won't do much gasoline. We can, but we probably won't. There's carbon black. Again, that's just a process that comes from this. You can see it's used for a lot of different purposes. So that's something that we'll have a good market for it. And that's something that we have a couple on our team that are really into how that can be applied. And there's, again, we'd be undercutting the market with our cost. Here's some numbers. This just gets into, again, what we can do. You see 175 gallons a ton. So every a ton of plastic that comes in, look at 175 gallons. And you can see that versus the regular gasoline, which is 20 gallons. That's why we'd be doing mainly diesel. There is plastic credits in there, but as you see, we have zero. We don't even put in anything, carbon credits or any of these other things. They're out there, and that's something we will look into, as well as any other tax credits, but it's definitely not part of our revenue model. We make money with just that, just selling diesel and carbon black. Kepro, they've been real good to work with. The main engineer, like I said, he's been doing this for over 30 years. He's currently down in Houston, and he's working with this model doing used oil down there. So they're very excited about this. What's also exciting, and I don't want to, it's one of those things that I don't want to say too much, but I got to at least add it, that what will probably happen, not only doing a refinery, but there's a very good chance we'll also be making the catalyst here, and there's the possibility of actually making the machines here. Since they haven't done it here in the United States, they're going to be making in the United States. The question is where, and there's a good chance it could be here if we get this refinery going, and that'd be great. Frank Millard, I've spent a lot of time with them. They'll be the main general contractor we'll be working with. And so that's, they've been on the phone with their engineer, and so very comfortable there. Again, that's the site we've sort of focused on. We know the other sites in town that's out there, but that's the one we hope we can do. That has a lot of capability because we don't need that many, like the parking lot, it's huge. I think it's what, 560 cars it was built for. We could use that space for storage, for tanks, for possibly put another warehouse on to house our plastic. So we'd be spending, it'd take probably 6 months to build these machines, get them there. We'd be spending that time bringing in feedstock and storing it, getting it ready for use. again, this is kind of I threw this in, this has been done for a bigger, more of a national, on why Burlington, and, I think a lot of times we forget about why Burlington's so special. We're all proponents of Burlington. Thing I point out to a lot of people that I don't think that's often thought about here in Burlington, but it is a benefit. A lot of river cities are recessed back from the river. We're very unique in that we're perpendicular to the river. We're not parallel to the river, like you think of Fort Madison, which is 10 miles long. We go east-west, and so it's very easy, and I've had a lot of people I've brought here from out of the area, the state, and I show them how quickly we can get around. And, within 10 minutes, you can get all the way out to the ammunition plant, all the way to the river. And, we're right up to the river, and that has a lot of benefits. So again, that picture there alone, I mean, we've all been to Steamboat Days in its heyday. I hope it happens again sometime. But, like 25, 30,000 people, they can do it. There's not many places in the entire Mississippi River that can do that. So anyway, I talk a lot about that when I'm marketing Burlington. The other thing I don't think it's in here too, I just want to also say, one thing that's really become a big one in the marketing is the airport. And I just had this discussion a couple days ago. They're asking me how they can get here, what other airports they have to go to, and I was like, you don't have to go to any other airport anymore. So I said, just put BRL to, it was Miami, just do that, you can go right here now. That's a big one, so thank you very much for helping do that. That really makes a difference when talking to people out of the state. So anyway, I talked about, again, the other thing, Burlington, hey, what's the difference between Burlington, Iowa and Mason City, Iowa? Well, we do have actually called a green legacy. And I talk a lot about, obviously, all the Leopold, and that, it truly is, there is something here that you can Wikipedia and see that this guy, is from here, he's buried here, which most people don't know. I think his grandfather, Starker, has a great story. Talking about the bridge, where underneath the bridge was his brick factory. So all these bricks that are here in Burlington came from underneath that bridge. So we have a good story, and you get into marketing, you get into anything, you're talking about why put something anywhere or do anything. I've told it, I truly believe it, I think Burlington has a good story for this kind of thing. If you want to get philosophical, I think what we're talking about here, again, I personally, I go on walks daily, and I pick up plastic, just did it last night. And I don't know about you, but that's one of my pet peeves. You see it everywhere. And the idea that we can actually take that plastic and turn it into fuel, at this age, got how many years left, that would be something I'd feel very good about to have help do. And it's frankly kind of exciting. I've got in my background, I've done tax work for over 30 years. I've been very involved in different tax credits over the years for different projects. I know that world. So I've spent a lot of time going through all the different tax credits are out there. A lot of these do apply. There might be some gray areas on some of them. But that's something right now that I'm not able to do anything with until we get the funding. But once we get a commitment on funding, with your help, and I'm sure be going up to the state and going through all the different applicable tax credits. And, see what else we can do there. I've used this a lot, too, in my marketing. I've talked about the fertilizer plant. And so I've kind of got into a study about the fertilizer plant. And anyway, I think, with the Frank Miller, I spent some time talking with them a lot about how they were the general contractor for that. There's some connection here, some similarity in some degree. Ours isn't a $3 billion plant, but, it does have an impact on the area that, this can grow into a much larger investment. This team, this is only part of our team. In fact, today I got a whole bunch of the pictures of the other ones. So I'm building that out. That's something here by the end of the week. There's about 6 other people that are going to be on this as well. But of note, Marcelo is, like I said, he's the inventor of this. He's been doing this all over the world. He is here in the United States. As I say, he's down in Houston right now. I'm sure many of you know Scott here in town. I've worked with Scott for the last several years on this type of project, and Scott's been very helpful as well. And that's it. So, yeah, I'm happy to take any questions, but really appreciate you having me here. And again, the 10 acres or the 8 acres downtown, it helps us a lot with the site control. And that's something that, as you can imagine, when you're talking to national investors that don't know Burlington, Iowa, they want to make sure that there is a place that this could actually happen with. And that particular location, whether we would use that as the main plant, we have gone through and done specs on it and how we could build there if we have to. And it does work. Our goal, though, would probably be to use that. If we were to use it, we'd probably use it for some warehousing, storage, maybe concrete pad for trucks or other use. But it would be very helpful, and obviously with this being in the center of the city, and that's a very good location. So, yeah, happy to take any questions.
So I would just note to council too, so while this is a short-term, just site control agreement, we haven't gone through site plan review, zoning, or any of that kind of stuff. Eric and I have had some conversations about, how things could work, and maybe in our meeting a couple of months ago, we talked about some things, but it's very preliminary. It's just to have control for his investment purposes at this point, so.
Okay. Council thoughts, concerns?
I just hope we can make it work.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Jonathan. I've been enthralled about this project since the very first time you brought it to us, when we were up at the Greater Burlington Partnership. So I'm good. I hope we can get it done.
You know that scene in Back to the Future where Doc Brown shows up and he starts taking the trash out and stuffing it into the little thing in the car?
Talk about that a lot.
Yeah, where we're going, we don't need roads. I was curious if you had an idea of what kind of jobs this would create, if it'd be minimal, if it'd have
The initial base, we're talking probably 80 to 100 jobs.
That's cool.
And it's like any of these kind of projects, want to be, maybe it's 50 to 80 in that range, but there's, part of it also I have to hedge because it also depends on logistics. I met here a little over a week ago with the logistics team, and so do we contract them, or again, this is the kind of thing that one of the models we built out was essentially plastic pickup. And that, we didn't even put any job estimates out for that, but that's one of those things that could become a new workforce. As I'm watching you guys, price out $600,000, garbage trucks, or $500,000, not $492 to be exact. Doing that, this is the kind of thing that there could be a private partner or public partnership, as we need the plastic. So it's a question, and then how do you get people to start
Logistics of getting it.
getting the plastic, changing how plastic's picked up? Right now, and I'm one of those out there with the green bin doing that. This has a whole different way of doing it, because you could literally, and we've talked about how to incentivize people even to do it, where you get a trash bag, like maybe a special colored trash bag that you only put your plastic paper or plastic wrappers, your bottles, your whatever. The whole world now, we do everything with plastic. So all that now can go into a special bag, which could be then picked up. Well, right now, the recycling, it's not set up for that. So we've talked about how to maybe build out in fact, that's one of the things I'm budgeting. I'm changing our model a little bit to include, which would include more workers.
And as excited as I am about the opportunity to have this here, the one question I think people will have is about any environmental or health hazards that would come from this. You said it's fairly clean. Is there a smell or anything else that?
Well, so what we've done, we actually have, in our package, we have a whole environmental review we've done with the DNR, and there's, of course, zoning elements here too, but the fact of the matter is that the actual plastic to diesel does not have, it's not a incineration process.
Right.
So it's not spewing out plastic particles. It's taking it, imagine putting it into your crock pot when you make a chili. It's kind of like that. You're taking it in, putting it in there, and then they put in their own catalysts, their chemicals, to get the fuel composition they want. So there's a steam element to some degree. The steam, though, it's nice, and again, I just got this, in this discussion we had today, he had to redo some of the figures. After its initial calibration with the machine, it's about 20%, almost all of it, 80% of it gets used to heat the building.
Oh, right.
So it recaptures. So there's not really in this process. Now, future developments, the municipal solid waste, the process with the wood and the municipal solid waste is not necessarily the anaerobic process, you might call it. There is what they call a smoldering process. So it's not an incineration process, they call it smoldering. There is with trash, there would be a smell. And again, our hope is to get to that stage, and at that point, it'd be building it somewhere else,
It's
definitely
off
not
topic,
downtown.
But charcoal briquettes were because when Ford was doing automobiles and using wood, they were using the chunks of wood to make charcoal briquettes because they were burning it and noticed that it still had some use to it. So basically, that was a recycling effort that turned into something like what you're doing. You just never know.
We've had some really interesting discussions, for example, with Burlington Northern Santa Fe. They go through 7 million railroad ties a year, and for them, it's a contaminant. So they've got to now get rid of those, and we're saying, well, can we use those and put them through our process and recapture some of the oil that's in there? And then, actually, we can make power, we can make fertilizer, we can make fuel. So it's just a question of, at this point, it's profitability. And I'd be very interested in how to do the others, but the power, right now, there's such a, there's a big push, obviously, and we're all aware of it here in Des Moines County because of these 650-foot turbines they're talking about here north of town. But there's obviously a huge demand right now for data centers. And this has the ability to be a power producer that can do this kind of thing as well. So we've talked about that, basically literally taking, even at the GE building, I'll call it that because I think that's better. And that we've talked about the old part, splitting that off, putting a wall there, and then putting a data center in the old part and powering it with some of the gas that's made.
I love the whole idea of it, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a process to get to this. So yeah, I think this year we're feeling very good about the financial package. There's a lot of interest on some large areas. A lot of people want to bring this to the United States. There's now there's just a lot of interest to finance it. It's just, of course, checking all the boxes.
Well, I'd say anything that could create jobs and reduce the amount of waste that we have in the world, that's a win. There's a building that's sitting empty that would be used, and that's a win. So I think I think you're doing something great here if it happens. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, Mr. Hazel. We really appreciate bringing this to us. Now, Mr. Byrd, I assume you'll bring an agreement to us to
Yep. That's in the
vote
packet
on?
with a resolution.
Okay.
Yep, but again, it's on the city attorney's desk right now for reviews, so.
As it goes through.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Great.
thank you.
Great stuff, man.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Thank you, John. Moving on, the proposed consent agenda for February 17th, 2026. First to be a resolution approving nuisance abatements for various properties. If you have any thoughts or concerns on that, or if you want to know about a particular property, contact Eric's department.
Short list this time.
It's winter. Number 2, resolution approving the certified local government annual report for the city of Burlington.
That was kind of fell in line with the presentation by Stephanie Brakeville. This is just an annual certification required to maintain CLG status. And I will just say that status allows the city to access resources and funding opportunities that we would not otherwise be able to receive, such as the fire department roof received an HRDP grant. So it's something that's important for us to continue to access funding and resources through that program. So yeah, her overview just kind of gives a summary of who's on the commission and what they've done this year, and
Okay.
we're required to submit that annually to the state.
Thoughts or concerns, council? Nope. Moving on, resolution approving the final plat of the Steiner subdivision.
This is a one-lot subdivision, just the northern portion of this existing lot here at 1401 Sycamore. Pull up a plat as well. So it's just subdividing that north half of that lot off, and then it will be combined with the lot to the west, this lot 12, I believe it is here, to the west. So it won't exist as an individual lot, it's just giving more land to the lot to the west of it. So that's why it's on consent, is it's not creating a new lot, it's just adding to an adjacent lot.
Okay. Thoughts or concerns, council? Seeing none. Number 4, resolution approving refund of cigarette license for Concordia LLC doing business as Concordia and Concordia Wine and Cigars.
So they closed and moved to a new location, the former good property under a new name, so I assume that's their refund.
Okay. Thoughts, concerns? Then we'll be setting the date for public hearings. First one will be a consideration of plans and specs for the 2026 Dolan Street Storm Sewer Project. And that'll be March 2nd, 2026. Looking forward to that. Number 2 will be consideration of City of Burlington proposed property tax levy for fiscal year July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. And that'll be April 6th after we're done with the budget process. Future discussion items, Travis Squires will be here February 23rd. Greater Burlington Housing will make a presentation February 23rd. And then that'll be a long one, folks, those two. Number 3 is a Vets Ride Transit Program report. That'll be Jocelyn Gonzalez of Williams Self-Reliance Group, and that'll be March 30th. And Council, I should have backed up. Are we okay with everything on the consent there?
Yep.
Okay, good enough. That's our work session for the night. We'll go around and get final stuff. Eric, anything from development?
Just briefly, City Academy, the sign-ups through this Thursday, if you're interested, get that application in or contact the Development Department. And then Shamrock Shuffle, the t-shirt deadline to register is coming up, I believe, Monday. So if you want a t-shirt with your registration, get signed up as well. I think we have 120, 138 registrants so far, so encourage you to do that and get the annual t-shirt.
Okay. Ken, anything from Waterworks?
Well, thank you for hearing me tonight, but anyway, as we all know, it's been real cold weather. We've had about 8 main breaks since the first of the year. Not too bad, but enough. But that being said, that's left us with some bad spots in our streets that still have to be repaired. So given that, one of the biggest ones that we have to handle, and I've been told that we're gonna have it done Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the workload tomorrow, we have an emergency repair to do, Division Street. So it's gotten pretty rough, but with the freezing temperatures and stuff, for them to be able to core it out, put the concrete back in there, and then put temporary asphalt until they start making asphalt, unless Nick wants to bring his new toy to, fill in that. But anyway, so that should be handled, and then any of the others that we're kind of behind on right now. But again, given the temperatures, we couldn't really do much. Anyway, one thing I want to tell you, recently we set up a new thing with our citizens where we can text them. So they're late on their bill, they're getting ready to get their water shut off in a couple days. And we set up a thing where we can text them and say, hey, to remind them that your bill is due, which then they would incur another $37.10 charge, let alone the possibility we go out, break their shut-off valve, just snowball effect. So anyway, on our last shut-off last week, we had 129 that were going to be shut off the day after. Mm-hmm. And we text them, and it got us down to like 49. Wow. So, and they came in the door thanking, hey, thanks for the reminder and stuff. So it's a win-win. Cost us about 10 cents a text. And we are in the process right now of moving to paperless billing if people so choose, so they don't have to get a paper bill. That's going to be another nice thing, I believe, for folks. So anyway, that's what I have.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Thank you. Tim, anything from wastewater? Nothing? Sam, anything from the library tonight? All right. Stephanie, anything from finance? Please, Schaefer.
Yes, I have a save the date. It's our annual Midwest
I didn't see
Magic
Chief.
basketball game. That'll take place on Sunday, March 22nd. It's a fundraiser with the Midwest Magic for Special Olympics.
Put your money on
It's
the
a great
Magic,
event,
people.
And it's probably one of our best community outreach programs that we have. So if you have the time on that Sunday afternoon, come out. We haven't won a game yet, but you never know.
You never know.
I didn't mean to cut you short either, Chief.
Is it true that you can
Chief
dunk?
Schaefer is what I meant.
Is it true that you can dunk? You can dunk a basketball?
I could in 8th grade. But no.
This is his Hall of Fame season too, right? So
right.
this is it.
Yeah, we sell out crowds.
Steve Toops, anything for fire department?
Not tonight, Mayor.
Is that meeting tomorrow at your place?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Nick, sorry, I'm not used to you with not coming up to the podium, before during someone else's presentation.
I'm sorry, my bad. I just wanted to give you an update quick on a couple of the big projects we got going on. I know we have some warmer weather. We have some people that'll be out starting to work. There still is probably 12 to 18 inches of frost in the ground, so concrete's not gonna get poured tomorrow. So just be aware that there's gonna be some work going on down here near the 3rd Street intersection, and they'll be continuing to try and place some water main, but they're not gonna be pouring concrete anytime soon. They'll have to wait till that frost's out of the ground.
Any activity is good activity on that spot.
Right.
Thanks for being a good sport. I know we give you a hard time.
That's all right. I can take it.
Okay, thank you.
You've done it like
Mr. Byrd.
6, 7
He does
times.
great. So the only thing, I put a flyer from the South Hill Neighborhood Association on the council's desk tonight. There were several city staff there on Saturday night, headlined by Brittany Jacobs, library director, and our own Eric Tisland, talking about the pool a little bit and that. So they both did a great job. Appreciate their efforts in community outreach.
Good deal. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Robert, anything?
Good job, everybody getting work done. I appreciate it.
All right. Tim?
Good.
Okay.
I'd like everybody to know that there's a free showing of Romeo and Juliet on Thursday night at the Capitol Theater. Dean and Karen Hurleman have sponsored this for Valentine's Day, so take your sweetie and go to the movie.
They
The one
both
with
died.
Leonardo?
They both-
Sorry, that's not very romantic to me if I'm dead at the end. Well, everybody knows, but if they both die, it's not very romantic. Annie, anything? I mean,
Nothing.
any,
I'm good, thank you.
okay. I just hate to point out the obvious, but they both die in Romeo and Juliet. Okay, I'll see you guys next Monday.
Wait.
What?
Is